Welcome to a new update. Today is a big day. It could be the day that we're going to get some news on the Bitcoin ETF. I think the entire market is waiting for such a news event, so that's why maybe today there is going to be some news. Otherwise, we move on towards the next big day on the schedule for the ETF, as currently the markets are so boring that actually nobody is interested into crypto, or actually there's no volume or volatility. And everybody is saying that it's super boring. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also make sure to check out our premium and public Discord group. In our premium Discord group, you are able to find information on my portfolios, the trades that I do, and everything else, including trade IDs and more. Now, when we're looking at the markets, it was hard to find some information on what we are going to discuss, but there is something, which is the ETF, that is still a big case to be deployed, especially since it's opening up the gateway for institutional investors into the crypto markets. So therefore, we're going to focus on why today is going to be a big day, because apparently we've had from the ARK ETF last week. And the ARK ETF proposal has been delayed, right? So the ARK ETF has been delayed, which means that there is a new final deadline or next deadline coming up in a few months' time. And it's going to be the final deadline on the date in 2024, which is the 10th of January. Now, when we're looking at the more important dates, we've got cases of BlackRock, Bitwise, Van Eck, WisdomTree, Invesco, and Galaxy, Fidelity, and Valkyrie, which are all lining up in 2 weeks from now. The final deadline for this entire event is in this first quarter of 2024. I think the consensus is that the markets are assuming that we're going to get a delay on all of them, through which we're going to get a most likely approval during this period of time, just before the halving takes place, which means that right now nobody is expecting any news regarding the ETFs. But then we've got today, and as you can see, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust refile conversion from Grayscale, also known as GBTC, that's the case for today. It's a lawsuit from Grayscale against the SEC, as they state that the SEC is fighting its own act and is unlawfully declining all the Bitcoin ETFs. So that's what's coming out today. The interesting part here is that Grayscale uses a premium or discount. So technically you can buy GBTC, which is some way correlated towards the price of Bitcoin. During the entire bull run in 2021, we've seen that there was a premium. And the premium states that more people are interested in GBTC and want to pay an additional fee than the actual value should represent. So that's what took place during the bull market. In the bear market, including the fact that DCG was having issues with the money, we saw a discount. Now, in the past 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, we are back with a premium. So that's also a premium on the altcoins. So does that mean that there is insider info on the fact that Grayscale is going to get a positive response from the lawsuit against the SEC? We are not sure, but it's up to you what you want to decide. But today is the day that Grayscale is going to find itself into information. So what's happening here? We could expect news. March 2021, 2022 cases with decisions within 160 days of oral. That's 94%. Now it's 160 days since it has been applied. What's it all about? Well, I mentioned it's Grayscale against SEC. And they state that the rejection of a spot Bitcoin ETF was done arbitrarily and capriciously, which they point out that the SEC approved Bitcoin futures ETFs while they are sidelining spot Bitcoin ETFs. The argument of Grayscale is that there is unfair discrimination, as I mentioned, and they are stating that it's in violation of the Securities Exchange Act, which is SEC's own case. Then there's also a case that they find that they should be treated equally. So the pricing after all is based on the same underlying asset and they apply with same collateral, which is Bitcoin. The SEC's main concern is that the potential vulnerability of spot Bitcoin ETFs to manipulation and fraud due to the unregulated nature of the underlying spot market. And they say that there's a correlation between spot and Bitcoin futures ETFs, but correlation doesn't imply causation. Conversely, Bitcoin futures ETFs trade on the CME exchange, and I think that today is going to be a big case, because if the chances of getting news are quite significant. If we are going to get news that is positive for Grayscale, it is very positive for the markets. End of story. If we're going to get news that it's delayed again, that's what the markets are expecting. So we're just going to consolidate further, have some macroeconomic news, and that's that. So that's what we're currently watching. If there is positive news, that's the breakout. If there is no news and there's a delay, we just continue the range until we're going to get into a stage of the other dates, which is in September, and we're just going to chop further. So if we're looking at the markets at this point, and we're looking at Bitcoin, I think we can conclude that it's super boring. I think the volumes across the markets are super boring. But we're also in this area, especially if you look at ETH, we are in this area since March of 2023, March to April. When it comes to Bitcoin, we've had this big run. We were chopping sideways since. We've got another big run, and here you can see the length of these periods of consolidation. Here we've had a period of 57 days that we were acting in this sideways range. Here we've got a period of 89 days that we are into this sideways range, and here we've got a period of 55 days. So we're getting into the stage of a potential breakout. The question is that we need to crack a crucial level. In that regard, I've made some blue marks in the previous chart, which means that in any downwards trend, it doesn't break through the crucial resistance zone, right? So all these blocks are crucial resistance zones, and here we've got a breakthrough through which we can apply the fact that we're breaking further up. In this case, the red box is the crucial level that we should be breaking through. So that's why I mentioned the party starts above 29.7 to 29.8k. If we have a daily close there, if we flip that level on lower time frames, which means breaking upwards, flipping 29.8k, and then continuing the trend, because then buyers are stepping in. I don't want to see these closes again like we have been seeing previously. So that's not what I want to see. I want to see a clear close above the level, and then we can continue moving. So the party starts above there. If we continue to fall, then I'm looking at the next level, which is 28.3. So 28.3 is my level of longs, and also the flip of 29.7 is for me an entry zone. All I can see is that we have been losing this important support level at 29.7 to 30k that we are currently fighting as resistance, which means if we break through that level, you usually want to see a cascade further down. If there is going to be a bad conclusion on the lawsuit, so Grayscale loses, that's going to be a takeaway for Bitcoin to go to 28.3. In that case, I'm buying the dip. If we break above 29.7, of course, I'm adding on the longs that I have already. So hence why 29.7 is a super important level. But if 29.7 has been lost as support and we're currently fighting it, you would expect that we are going to accelerate like we have been seeing here. We are not, which means that in the past 3 weeks we have been going sideways in this range, and that is actually a strong argument for continuation. So we are waiting for the big news to come out. I think positioning yourself into longs is still pretty much fine. If we look at Ether, you can conclude that the markets are so boring that it's almost astonishing. We are going sideways here for 154 days. And if you look at Ether on this regard, you can actually see that we have been taking liquidity beneath the low. So as long as Ether stays above this area of $1,817, I think we are fine because we have been taking the liquidity. If we are losing this level and drop beneath this low, we're going to drop towards 17.15. If, on the other hand, we're going to break through the resistance zone on the highs here, this is your crucial block of resistance. So it's not much. And I can tell you the breakout is going to take place within 1 to 2 weeks from now. However, if we do break through this level, that's going to be a very important case. So these are the two levels to mark for ETH. Above here and the flip, I'm going to look at the rally all the way towards the block that we have here at $2,075. So today's the day. And probably Bitcoin is going to make the move somewhere within the next 1 to 2 weeks. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter as I'll be posting the news there. And make sure to join my Discord. Ciao!